Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Flex and Reflex Sunday Sit Down. Yes, I'm outside and I've put a background today of the Mental Toughness and Body Show because I want you to, I mention it each week, but by having it here, I'm subliminally sending you some messages that you should go and listen to that show. It's available wherever you download your podcast from Apple, Google, anywhere. I also do another one called Rob Evans 365, which is more, what's going on I record Mental Toughness and Body Show every day. I record Rob Evans 365 every day. Slightly different in the approach. And I've got people that listen to one or the other and listen to both. So I've got a heap of questions. I'm not going to get through them all because I've got about 18 questions. Generally try and get through about five on these calls to keep it around the 15 to 20-minute mark. So let's go. How do you maintain discipline on days when your motivation is low? So I guess it comes down to conditioning. I always say, what's getting you started to begin with on a health and fitness journey? Like I did a big leg work. Traditionally, Sundays are a leg workout day for me. It's my favorite workout of the week. If I look at people in the gym and what they're doing in their training, you can see that, yeah, great job. You're turning up, you're doing some work, you're feeling good as a result of that. But I think what I see is really lacking for people is that deep connection with why did they get started to begin with? What is it that's really going to enable them to do this for the rest of their life? What's going to enable them to never ever stop to achieve the best version of themselves? Are they then connecting everything in the gym? And you only have to watch people for about 5 minutes, actually less than that, probably 3 minutes in the gym to know whether they're doing all of these things in their life. Why? Because the way you do one thing is the way you do every single thing. And the first thing that I observe is, well, obviously, if I watch them doing an exercise, I can tell, is their form right? Is it terrible? What sort of weight are they lifting? Is it too much? Is it too little? Are they, so for instance, I'll give you an example. I was doing standing calf raises, so that where the pads are on your shoulders and you're standing upright. The guy on the machine next to me was doing 3 repetitions for every one of mine. Now, I'm doing the hold, the squeeze, come back down, a really good control. There's bouncing up and down through the motions, going off, doing something else, coming back, and not doing what's required. Now, I can say that's the first thing. The second thing I can say is, are they writing anything down? Are they keeping track of what it is that they're doing, or are they really just glossing over everything and just hoping to remember? Now, have you got any chance of remembering what did you lift on this day 6 months ago? No. You'll have a rough idea, perhaps, but you're not going to know exactly. And you're tracking your mood, your energy levels, your food, all of that sort of stuff. One thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next. Now, why am I telling you all that? And how does that relate to motivation on your down days? If you remain connected like I do, right back to why am I doing this? Oh, that's right. That's why I'm doing it. I have 42 reasons why I do what it is that I do. I have them all written down. And from time to time, I reflect on them. If I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I've lost the fire in the belly, or I need a little bit more. So what else can I do? And then all those other steps, like tracking what it is that I'm doing. After I finish this, I'm going inside to do some my meal prepping for the week. I do those things because I know it connects me with that end goal that I want, which you don't ever get there because you're like, you set your goal as here, and then the closer you're getting to it, it's like, okay, I'm going to raise it to here now, and then it's here, and then it's here, and you keep on moving forward. And that's a little bit like wealth creation. It's like success in your life. It's like, what do you want? You want more. You just want more. And so on those days where I am feeling a little bit low, I will reflect and say, all right, what's going on for me? Challenging week that's been. Everybody has challenges, but for me, challenging week. I was coming off some antibiotics. It's like tomorrow, it's 2 weeks since then. My energy levels were a little bit depleted. I'm trying to work out what is that. It's spring here. The hay fever had come. I tried a new medication that was making me a little bit drowsy. Today I feel great. It's been 3 days off the daily, like hay fever medication. It's longer that the the antibiotics is out of my system, and I had a really good night's sleep as well. So is it one of those? Is it all of those things? Is it none of those things? I'm always looking at, so what is it? Do I need to drink more water? Do I need to consume more plant-based food? Is my sleep a little bit depleted? What's going on? Is there other challenges in my life that's taking away my focus? So I look at all of those things, and there may be days where I say, do you know what? I'm not going to be able to put in the intensity that I want, but I'm still going to do the work because I know that it's going to make me feel better at the end, and maybe it's just an off day. But it comes back to, why am I doing it to begin with? I always reconnect with that one. Okay, let's jump to this one. How can someone transition to a plant-based diet without feeling like they're missing out on key nutrients? Yeah, that's a really good question. Back when I was a kid, like when I first started training, I don't even know whether the word vegan even existed. I knew one vegetarian person in my life, and that was a friend of the family, and they were really alternative. They looked like a hippie. They dressed, with the headbands and the hippie type clothes, and they had a really alternate lifestyle. And that was my first exposure to vegetarian. And so vegan didn't even exist, but now more and more there is that drive by people that either everybody's got their own reasons as to why they want to be vegetarian or why they want to be vegan. Now, the biggest challenge and there's no right or wrong there. It's just it's very what's personal to you. Me personally, I like eating my protein from meat sources, but I eat plenty of plant food as well. So the biggest challenge I see with my vegetarian and vegan clients is that they're usually low in protein, and they're usually missing key nutrients. So it can be a real challenge particularly for vegan people to make sure that they're getting all those right nutrients in, because it requires some discipline. If you want to refine what it is that you're eating, like all of a sudden you're excluding some food groups. So how are you going to make sure that you get those things? You can, but it's going to be harder for you. It means you need to work harder. It probably means that you need to be making more food on a daily basis, as opposed to what I'm about to go and do is cook up and freeze food, which from many vegan choices, that's not really possible, depending on exactly what it is that you're eating. So my suggestion would be this. I do have some clients where they like to say have a no meat eating day, and that may be something to consider. Alternatively, scale back the protein that you're eating from meat sources and so forth, and see how your body adjusts to that. And then really, I mean, I just did a post yesterday. If you go and have a look at my Facebook page, and you can see where I said the top 7 foods where you can get protein from. It's harder. Like the plant-based food is just lower in protein. And so you've always got that, protein versus calories. For instance, I'll give you an example. So almonds, for instance, have protein in them. But if you ate enough almonds to give you the protein that you needed, your calories for the day would just explode, and it wouldn't make sense. Like that wouldn't be a sensible thing to do. So I would be eating way fewer almonds, to get some good fats and so forth, but I need to be getting the protein from some other sources. So I think the best approach is do a little bit of your own research on what are some of the foods that you like. What are some of the meals that you're wanting to say remove the meat from, and then look at, okay, what are the high protein choices? Go and have a look at my post and have a look at the different beans and seeds and that kind of stuff, to where you can see, well, this is how I can get some more protein. And just try it. Just don't go all or nothing, because you'll find that you're not going to get it right to start with. You'll find that you'll be missing some nutrients, and that's going to leave you a little bit depleted. So do it on a gradual basis, and from that, I would say, look, just go to either studiospt.com.au or here, the mentaltoughnessandbodyshow.com, and you can opt in for a free consult. We can have a more one-on-one conversation about that, because it's a very broad sort of question, and it depends on where you are, exactly what your health and fitness goals are, perhaps understanding a little bit more about why you want to do that. And we can then, I can give you some ideas as to some things to try. Okay. All right. What's a recent challenge that made you rethink your approach to personal growth? Interesting. Every week there are challenges that's for sure. Um, what happened in the last week? Okay, so I had this. I was trying to make a connection in this last week with a very important CEO. This is a part of the work I do as part of Liv's legacy work. This thing on the side looks like it's an extra big ear on the side when I go that way. And I was looking at, so I got no response after a month, and I thought, what is going on there? And then I looked at, anyway, I recrafted, I did another email. I used ChatGPT to help me come up with what's a good email. I didn't like its, the subject line is really important. I came up with my own subject line, and within 5 minutes, I got a response, and he said, "Yeah, bang, we're going to go with that." Just going to check. Uh, yeah, right. Okay. I just had a Facebook friend request from a celebrity. Um, that's interesting. And so through that process, I was thinking about, how much time do I want to spend in doing this work with Liv's legacy work? Because with that, there's that risk of my personal growth suffering and also my business suffering. But then so I've got to be really careful how I balance that. And then the other reflection is, well, in me being able to work out how to within 5 minutes get a response from that CEO, uh, I was able to just reflect for a moment and say, it's really interesting how I've grown so much to be able to see through all that and still add value to the person in the email, and seeing a way forward so that this person can see that I'm going to be a person of value to them. They just don't know how valuable I'm going to be because we haven't had that meeting yet. And I guess in that, I'm thinking about, wow, I've had so much personal growth improvement over the last, I would say more so over the last 5 years, how much I've grown. And it's only when you stop and you look back and say, wow, that's really quite impressive. And it makes me not want to stop. But I did reflect and say, what, because I'm doing all of these things, am I not growing? Am I not spending as much time doing some of these other things? And then I realized that I'm actually, even though I'm not like spending, say, as much time on a particular day that I'd want to with my coach or my coach's program and doing that type of work, I can see how indirectly I am doing that work because I'm taking actions, thinking about, so what would my coach do? What would he recommend? How do I get to that next step? And I'm actually taking the action and learning through that process. So it was really quite interesting. And then I had a meeting the week before, which was in relation to this meeting as well. And there was an example there where I'm just like, wow, go back even 5 years, and I wouldn't have had the confidence to do what I did and say what I said in the meeting and to follow through and just be so confident that I'm going to achieve these outcomes for people. So yeah, that was quite interesting. All right. All right. Okay. Well, look, I'll answer this one because this comes up a bit. How do you handle self-doubt when trying to achieve ambitious goals? Um, One of the things that you need to do, we all have these limiting beliefs and fears at some point in your life. And I like what my coach says. He said, you do things, you have a fear, you do it 5 times, and you'll eliminate the fear. So the first time that you go to do something, I remember the first time I got in the car with dad to go for a driving lesson. And of course, it was an old Volkswagen Passat, and so with the the clutch and the gear stick and stuff, so we didn't have an auto, and I remember how I stalled constantly. It was like trying to get going, and it's like I just couldn't get the hang of it. And I remember driving straight through a stop sign, and so lucky it was through a T intersection, and a car luckily did not go through, because we would have been cleaned up. And um, yeah, it was just such a unique experience. But the second time you got in, I remembered going through the stop sign, and I was not happy about certain aspects of my driving. Then the third time, and the fourth time, and then by the fifth time, you're starting to get a little bit more confident. Now, if you think about those other things in your life, then you can eradicate the fear by consistently just facing the fear and say, do you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. And so if I use the ambitious goal that I set for myself over the last 12 months, was I met with Alfred Health, and they told me about this in-home program that they wanted to do. This again, part of Liv's legacy work that I do for my daughter. And I said to them, I don't know how, but I'm going to get that program funded. They were looking for $3.8 million. I said, I'm going to get that funded. And I was so confident in saying that, because I'm like, this is the right thing to do. This will save people's lives. This would have probably saved my daughter's life. So I'm going to do it. Now, it's easy to say things like that. And even though perhaps they possibly wouldn't admit it now, I'm sure when I said it, both Rachel and Paul that I met with would have been like, yeah, right. We can't get the funding. We've been trying to do this for like 10 years or whatever. We've never had the funding, as if you're going to be able to do it. Now, fast track, like it took about 10 or 11 months. We got $6.5 million of funding for not just that program, but for them to create another the same program to help another hospital implement it. So 6.5. Now, I just had this belief that we would do it. Well, I say we because it's Liv and me. She's sitting right here. And I just had that belief that I would do it. It didn't matter how long it was going to take. I knew that I could do it. And so I think when you're tackling these ambitious goals, you have to think about, again, so why is it important to you? Why did you get started to begin with? And for me, this particular one is like, this is how I remain connected with my daughter. This is, I feel her spirit, if you like, driving me, like we're working as a team to do these things together. And that's really cool. So I think if you can really tap into those ambitious goals and go back to why is that so important to you? And if you can really articulate that very, very well, in a way that is so meaningful for you, you'll never stop until you get it done. And then look, I've achieved that. And now it's like, okay, well, what's next? It's like, we're all able to achieve that. So what else can we achieve? And I think that this is the beauty of life. We don't know how it's going to end. We don't know everything that's mapped out for us. And even though I'm 56, I feel like I'm just at the start of what it is that I'm capable of and want to achieve in my life. And how exciting is that? And to be so excited and passionate about the unknown. And there can be some fear in the unknown, if you look at it that way, or there can be some real excitement in that as well. And I think that is amazing. So on that note, have a great day, everybody. I'll hold over these other questions for next week. Have a great week. Go listen to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. I'll see you soon.